Hello, folks. I just heard the music and now it's been shut down. It's back again, folks. Much like the COVID, it's back again. But tonight is going to be an interesting night. Tonight is going to be a very unusual sort of conversation. We're going to be talking about many things. You know, the Sunday night fights, or was it Oscar night? Anyway, tonight is the off night. If you're just joining us, you're going to have your wonderful host, Mr. Mark Sweetman, who's maybe...
Hey. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm just waiting for my... I guess I pushed the button I'm supposed to push to have me go on the screen. I just don't see me yet. Oh, there I am. There we go. I'm here.
In.
Oh, okay. Now what happened? You know what happened? I hit the button. It's a toggle button. You know, it's a toggle button, so when I didn't immediately go on screen, I hit it again, and so now it's all catching up.
I've had two people accuse me of looking like David Letterman.
Oh, yeah. I get that. He kind of wears those same kind of glasses, and his beard's a lot longer than yours is, though. Really
I know, his beard's the profile, and I was told last night, so I was trying to do a tie wiggle. Couldn't get the tie. You have to wear a tie for the tie wiggle.
He's been off 6 years, so he's got 6 years worth of growth going there for that.
Yeah, well, he's been doing the interview show on, I think, was it Netflix? He's got that interview show where he does.
Yeah. I like it. It's like.
Have you watched his interviews?
I am.
Okay, how are they?
They're good.
I watched the first year.
They're good because he gets an hour without commercials. And when he did an hour before, he had to do a monologue, he had to do a comedy bit. There's a musical guest, interviews were like, if you got two segments, maybe 12 minutes, with somebody. You get 5 times that much in a Netflix.
Yeah.
Special.
Yeah.
So, I like them. They're pretty good.
Okay.
He's not a bad interviewer.
Very cool.
I guess you learn something after 29 years,
Learned a few things. Yeah, I guess you don't have to, you can do an interview without having to, stick yourself to a wall with the Velcro suit.
Right.
Or dip yourself into a vat of water with Alka-Seltzer.
Right. Well, let me get to the wife's poem.
Yep.
You can tell she's not
you say that.
You can tell
the wife's poem.
Yeah.
All right.
You can tell she's not.
Give me the wife's poem. There we go. All right.
You can tell she's not going to be here when I say, "Yeah, let's get to the wife's poem."
She's the wife's poem.
There's no name.
Exactly. Hey, let's get to the wife's poem. Yay!
There's no broad affection. It's just almost like it sounds as perfunctory. All right, let's get this over with. Here we go. Yeah. Anyway.
It's really make just kind of hold it up to the camera and just say, read it.
Read it yourself.
Read it yourself.
Right, here it is. And I've known, when she first started this, she was doing like 12 to 14 lines every week. This one is 4, and the last line is a phone it in line. Well, you'll see when we get to the fourth line. All right, here's Susan's poem for March 28th. Here we go.
It's a haiku.
Yeah. A little bit longer than that. Our Prez had free speech off the top of his head. Putin is nuts beyond what's already been said. Assault and battery on Chris Rock. Will Smith should have him clean his clock. Zampino's probably not the first. Could thinning hair be an ex-wife's curse? Now sit back, enjoy the show. Let's have some fun and curse this snow. Well, that's in reference to the snow we got this morning. Did you get snow over there in Washtenaw County?
Yeah, it snowed. We got up this morning and kind of like, well, what the heck is this? And the blowing snow on the roads. Yeah, it's like 19 degrees out. Yeah.
I don't want to see 25 degrees on the 28th of March.
No, usually it's the beginning of the March you have that. By the end of the March, you're into the April temperatures.
Out like a lamb. That's the whole story. Yeah. In like a lion, out like a lamb. Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, we talked about the Zampino reference before we went on. Sherry Zampino is Will Smith's ex. And I think my wife's reference here is she doesn't like people that get married and then divorced and remarry. She thinks you should be married for life, which I think is how it was planned. I think that's how she got into it. Yeah. And so when she sees that it's the second wife who's being dissed by the comic on stage, she has less sympathy for that person. So that the line "could thinning hair be an ex-wife's curse?" I think is what she's referencing there. Anyway,
Yeah, but
so
I think Chris Rock has a lawsuit he could take on Will Smith if he wants.
yeah, I think he did a great job of just playing it off and going with the flow. You know what I mean? As comics do, may I remind everyone. This is why I don't think comics make bad politicians, and the probably the two most famous ones are Al Franken and Vladimir Zelensky. So
yes. I've watched a couple of episodes of his sitcom show. It was pretty good.
I haven't seen any of that yet, so I'll have to check it.
It's quite.
Which is it on YouTube, or do I have to go?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, Netflix. Okay, I'll have to check it out. I got Netflix.
Okay, it's in it's in subtitles. So.
Well, I got Netflix now because I'm using our son's sign on and passwords, which I guess Netflix is going to crack down on sharing your passwords and stuff. So we'll see how much longer we have that.
Got it. Yeah. Well, my brother tried to do that with me too. So we had it for a while, but it's got to be too much of a hassle trying to get in contact with him. So.
Right.
But anyway, I just think, I think Chris did a good job. I mean, to me, it was kind of weird. It wasn't that bad of a joke.
It wasn't that good of it. It wasn't good of a joke. It wasn't that bad of a joke. It was a joke.
I don't think it necessitated the physical response from Will Smith, though.
I'm leaving the screen here for just a second. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to be off screen for a second. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Now that I have you alone.
I'm back. I left something. I left something just at the side here. It's funny with these cameras and everything. I can have all kinds of crap right up next to me and the microphone and the camera that is never seen because you only got that focus on what's right in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. And still, I leave stuff behind. So, what can I say?
There you go.
Anyway, it's interesting. I'm obviously on Team Chris Rock on this one.
Yeah.
But and it's, I guess if we're going to have divides in this country on everything, this is one that I think sort of crisscrosses the other divides because a lot of them are left and right, and I think there's just as many people on both sides, on both the left and the right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't even know if Chris Rock and Will Smith even knew each other. Now, the critical race theory take on this is that all black people know each other, so they knew each other. So.
Well, it's interesting. That other guy says? Well, we'll get together with the brothers in the corner. We'll try and iron this out, like there is a society or whatever,
Oh, and I know what I was going to mention, that a lot of I guess Australia didn't have the sound go out because the American broadcast, they cut the audio.
Yeah.
After that,
they put up they put a thing over the face of
right
of Will Smith trying to explain what he was doing. So
right. So you get to see. So you get to in Australia, you get to see everything, and a lot of people got versions of that today. A lot of news organizations that weren't ABC, because ABC is trying its best to.
The Oscars, night of peace.
Yeah. So.
Let's support Vladimir. Let's support the Ukrainians. Oh, we have a fist fight here for you.
Exactly. Oh, and just and the people defending Will Smith are the ones that saying that, well, he said something mean, but there's never been a court of law in the United States that have ever been able to successfully use the "he said something mean to me" defense for physical violence, for assault.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, here's an
interesting thing too. The police.
6 stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Right. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, and there's people that hate that term too because they're saying words can hurt you. So.
Yeah, but it's like,
not like a bullet.
Not like a bullet, And even if they're calling you names and stuff like that, it's like, until they start coming at you with a knife, you got to just say, screw you guys.
Well, yeah. And also, well, the thing is, I this goes back to the I can't think of the kid's name. Trayvon Martin case. What was his? What was his killer's name?
I cannot remember. You're asking. We have to have a ticker tape or whatever. Somebody on the
That's a
an
good
information
idea.
guy.
That's a good idea. We need somebody on Google constantly.
We need somebody on Google constantly. Gotta find ourselves a 6 or 10-year-old that could do our
Fernandez
Google.
is like Fernandez or Hernandez or something. Rodriguez. I can't. It was a Hispanic name.
Yes.
But his defense was that stand your ground defense that some of these states have, where if you feel threatened, you have every right to shoot somebody.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what Will Smith was going with. In other words, did he have a right to hit Chris Rock? Well, I or my wife or both were feeling threatened. And
like,
so,
how could you feel threatened in the Oscars? I mean, it's like, was he coming at you? I mean, it's like,
well,
I don't know.
I don't. I won't. I don't shy away from the from the excuse that they're just.
I have to put this bluntly. I think Chris Rock goes over the line quite a bit, but he's also a very, very good guy on really getting to the nitty gritty of the sociological problems of society.
Sure,
he cuts right to the bone, and
Yeah.
I think he does a great job.
And
like I think I said this joke that he did about when the people are saying like we have these cops, and it's like people say, well, they're what was that? There was a phrase like the phrase about the cops when they do wrong.
Right.
And said, oh, there's just bad seeds. We just have some bad seeds on the thing. It's like, would you accept that, from a profession like any other person? Would you accept that from like, say, the pilots union? It's like, oh, that's okay, guys. We got a friend here. He's kind of a bad seed, but he'll be able to land he's just kind of learning. He'll be okay. He may flake out a little bit, but
yeah, so true.
So why do you accept it in a policeman's uniform? That
Well, again,
But that was a Chris. I messed it up. I masked it. It's not. I don't get the right wording for it, but that was a Chris Rock. Type of joke, and that's
his best one was on gun control, where he said, it's not the guns it's the bullets that kill people. Yeah. We need bullet control.
It's like that. Then he acts out, I'm going to be back here in 5 weeks when I get a bullet for you. It's like, bullets are $2,000 a piece. It's like, I'm coming back here.
Yeah. That's the line. Yeah, you're in trouble when I can afford a bullet, buddy.
yeah, buddy. Could be about 3 weeks and maybe a couple of $1,000, but when I come back, I got to talk about downtime. So it was pretty good. But I mean, I do appreciate a lot of his work, but he likes to work the edge. Yes,
Well, I didn't see it obviously because I was doing my own show last night.
Yeah, how did your show go?
It was the Young Club.
It was the Young Club.
Same as always over in Ipsy.
It's not Unclub. Same sort of we didn't have Twilight Zone episode every week. Here we go.
Yeah, we didn't have any. Well, actually, no, we didn't have any drunks. The comics were complaining that there were a lot of people. Finally, we're starting to draw an audience that is not just comics, because we do it right after the trivia contest there.
Oh, okay.
And Tim has been trying to get the trivia host to say, maybe a 6:30, 7 o'clock, and a 7:30 announcement every half hour. And 8 o'clock when I'm done here, we're going to have comedy, just something like that. And she gets paid. She's paid to do what she's doing, and we're doing this as volunteer talent, for kids to get experience and stuff. And you'd think she could just, make that part of her spiel. I mean, just like announcing the drink specials and stuff, all that stuff. You know what I mean? That a MC does.
Gotta look at it from her perspective. It's like no dough, no show. It's like that's basically.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, exactly. The announcements are too trivial for her trivial contest. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get, it's like, but if we were there saying, if she was like saying, all right, I know you're working professionally here, but could you put a theme in for my thing for free?
Yeah. Well, I guess we could buy her a drink for those three. But 3 drinks at that place, that's a brew house. I mean, the alcohol content of the stuff they brew there, and a little bit heavier than Budweiser. A little
negotiation with her. Maybe she'll go with it.
Yeah. Anyway, but last night we had a lot of people that stayed and a lot of people that stayed till the very end too. Nice. And then the comics, were like, oh, we could only get people in the audience. We finally get people in the audience, and they're going, oh, but they weren't that good. They weren't. I go, look, we put the butts in the seats. You need to make them laugh, and so it's not
it's
about
not
that.
The audience's fault that they're not laughing.
But they're not laughing. Yeah, exactly.
It's you.
And we have some good. We have some good new comics that are pretty good. So I mean, I enjoy them anyway. So it's good, and I am. You remember the Unclub before? We'd get like 17 to 25 people signing up every week, and everybody's doing 6 and 7 minute, 5 and 6 minute sets. And I'm kind of limiting it this time, so everybody gets a 10-minute set. So I'm making it a little bit harder to get on the show. Not impossible, but a little bit harder, so that these people that I know, like Kurum shows up. And he's on the wait. I don't have an order of the wait list. I don't say like you're first on the wait list, you're second on the wait list. If somebody doesn't show up by 7:45, they're out. And it's not the next guy on the list. It's the next the funniest guy on the list, And Kurum shows up and he goes, "Hey, can I get some time?" I says, "Look, oh, yep, you can." And I have to tell the guy that I said he might get. I can't give guys slots until during the show.
You're just doing it like the Improv did, You're just doing it like the Improv did. I remember the open mic of the Improv. I was like the last guy up. I think. Let's see. I think. I still think that. Who's the guy in California with the glasses?
The guy in California with the glasses. That's anybody.
Yeah, he was more vague than that.
Nitzer, Bill Nitzer.
Oh, Bill Nitzer. Okay, Bill Nitzer. Okay.
Bill Nitzer was actually, when I went there, he was actually doing something. I think it was like running the open mic at the Improv.
At the Improv, okay.
Yeah, so there was like, and I suspected that he picked people that I did impressions. So before I went up, this guy did a whole series of impressions. And this guy, and then before I went up, they had a psycho guy went on stage.
That's always nice.
Was trying to do the one mind to the other. They had to bring somebody in to take him out. And then they had 20 minutes from a professional guy. Hey, Sam, 20 minutes from a professional guy goes up there and just, and I'm just like, looking over my shoulder. And then they had the crazy guy go up there trying to do the half minds. They had to drag him out. And then they say, oh, your next act, Andy Jensen. So I had to suspect that Bill Nitzer may have had something to do with that, but I can't prove it. So 20 years ago, I still did okay. I didn't do great, but I did okay.
I never did.
At least in my mind, that's what I'm going to say. I did great. Anyway,
I never did the open mic at the Improv. The only place I did open mic was the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
I never did it at Igby's. I never did it at the Comedy Magic Club. I never did it at the Ice House. I never did their open mic. If I wasn't getting paid, I wasn't working there. But I went out there. With a resume. I already had. When I got introduced to everybody at the clubs, it was like by the headliner who said, "This guy, I worked with this guy in Detroit. Put him up." So that helps a lot. Because I don't think the way they did open mics out in LA was you threw your name in a hat and it was like a lottery.
Mm-hmm. That was it. That was it.
The good thing about the open mics out there was that people paid to see the show, and even though it was only $5, it might have even been $2 back then. I don't know, but at least they were paying to see the show. It wasn't like a lot of these places where, and even the one nighters, if you were working them and you got paid, they were charging people admission, and people that pay admission are expecting to see a show.
Yeah,
and they know, and for the most part, out in LA, it was good because they knew they weren't paying $20 at the Improv or the Comedy Store. They were only paying $5 at Lou's Deli Smoker. So
yeah,
that way they knew they were getting the $2 or the $5 show, whatever it was. Sammy, how's it going?
Well, I told you what happened to me last week, right?
I did, but I didn't tell. Did you tell Andy?
Andy,
this?
you don't know?
No, what happened?
I didn't tell Andy.
Excuse me. I slipped. I stumbled. I slammed into a wall, and I fractured 5 ribs.
Oh, 5 ribs. I thought it was just a few.
And I went to the hospital, and I stayed there for 4 days, and I'm fine now.
Wow.
And it's amazing that I'm fine, because everyone I talked to said, what is it, 5 ribs? Yeah, you'll be there a month. It's been a week.
Huh. So
and
now
I'm taking painkillers, but even without the painkillers, the pain is not that great. The only bad thing that happened to me was that Kevin Hart slapped me.
Yeah.
Except for that.
Oh, that's funny. That's very funny.
Were you making fun of his wife? Was that the deal?
Kevin's wife actually has an afro, so she doesn't have that same problem.
Got
it. But she's got something that a comic could make fun of.
You know how you greet her. You know how you greet what's her name?
Jada
Will
Pinkett
Smith's wife.
Yeah.
You know how you greet her, right? Hello, Pisha.
Oh,
hello, Pisha.
I mean,
ouch.
He's gonna punch himself out. With
my
all these
wife said that he apologized to Chris Rock.
I just saw that headline before we came on the air. I happened to read that on one of the news services.
Too little, too late.
Too late.
True.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you who I think is a bigger piece of shit than Chris, what's his name, than Will Smith. I really do. And I admire his ability, but Denzel Washington.
Well,
no one asked him, just shut up. Not you, him. I remember he got into a big row with Quentin Tarantino because Tarantino used the N-word in his scripts. And I thought, and no one bothered to tell Denzel Washington, evidently, that the people who use the N-word in his scripts are violent thugs and killers.
Right.
Yes.
So that's how they talk.
Yes.
It's enough. And the thing that really heartens me about this, that makes me feel good, is when Bill Cosby had his scandal, I was very concerned. I was worried that African-American men would take his side. Because a couple did, not many, but, things like, oh, these girls knew what was going on, blah, blah, but they didn't. They did not. And I was very happy about that. And I think it's kind of the same thing with this. And I think part of it is because what he did was there for the world to see.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like, they went backstage and it happened. So, and somebody said that the joke he told before that, Barbara said this to me, the joke he told before that, Smith was laughing his ass off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't, and somebody told me that when he did the joke about her, that Tonya, whatever her name, Pinkett Smith, rolled her eyes. I don't know, who knows? Did she roll her eyes out of disgust? Did she roll her eyes like, oh, that's, that Chris Rock? I don't know. Yeah. But the bigger issue to me is the three of us certainly know this. You don't do that. You don't go on the goddamn stage and take a swing at somebody.
Yeah.
No.
You don't do it.
And the thing is, that Chris Rock was still standing after that. I mean, he
Oh,
wasn't
he
even
handled
defending
that like a
himself.
pro.
That he was still standing, and he didn't even defend himself. Tells me that Will Smith has to get to the gym. He is just. I mean, if you can get an open shot like that at Chris Rock and put him down,
because Will Smith is a big guy and Chris Rock isn't.
right? He should
And
have
so,
put.
if you haul off, and it looked like a haul off to me.
It sure
if you
did.
haul off and hit Chris Rock, and he not only doesn't get hurt, he doesn't budge. I mean, he doesn't.
You know what?
Literally does not budge.
I wonder if that might be that. I wonder if that punch was not for that joke, but maybe for the joke back in 2016.
Well, you talk about latent theories.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what would have been hysterical? Absolutely hysterical. If Will Smith hit him and Chris Rock looked right into the camera and went, Schwarzes, go figure.
Well, Amy Schumer was hilarious right after it.
He was great.
She was so that was so. And again, I didn't see it last night because I was working. But I was
in the back taking off my super Spider-Man outfit. It said there seems to be a different feeling into the room right now.
No,
something happened when I was out.
I'll tell you what I think is wonderful about this. Once again, Whoopi Goldberg has written a novel called "I'm Wrong Again." I swear to God, she's going to put out a book called "Hitler Had a Point."
Did she take Will Smith's side on this?
Not so much as what she said was, and it was interesting about what she said because no one brought this up. No one.
That's Whoopi for sure. No one brings it up.
What she said was, you shouldn't take his Oscar from him. Well, no one said you should. No one mentioned that. No one said mentioned anything about taking the Oscar from him. And I don't think you should either.
No, he won it.
No.
Yeah,
he can have the Oscar. His career.
If you haven't taken it from Mel Gibson, then you're not taking it from Will Smith.
See, he thought he was accepting for his role as Muhammad Ali. That's where he was confused.
He thought that was for that. Yeah,
that's hysterical. that's
he just got a little mixed up.
He's gonna change.
I wrote a line today where I said, "Well, note to self: next time I do an August Alsina line, I got to check it with Will if he's in the audience."
That's great. You know what's interesting?
Every time you get up on the stage, you kind of go, "Is Will Smith here?" Okay, good. We're all
right, we're good. Okay.
Okay,
in fact, I think for my Sunday night show from now on, I think I'll.
Did you see Coda?
No, but I want to now. Oh,
I saw it. I saw it, and it
the,
absolutely deserved Best Picture.
Good.
And I'll tell you why I say that. It was my favorite movie. This never happens to me. It was my favorite movie of the past year. Normally, I'll go, okay, yeah, that one's good. Yeah, I understand. Right. No, this was easily my favorite movie of last year. And the guy who won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, so deserved it.
Good.
So brilliant an actor.
I saw him being interviewed this morning on one of the morning talk shows, and he was saying that the girl who won it before for Children of a Lesser God, what's her name?
Yeah. Marlee Matlin.
Marlee Matlin. He said having her on the set sort of gave every deaf actor on the set, gave them the confidence to be able to do this because she was, here's somebody who's won an Oscar playing as a deaf person, and was able to act their heart out, and win an Oscar for it. So everyone felt that they could make this film, and he gave her a lot of credit.
She was the whole thing was so good, and was so. There's just nothing bad I could say about that movie. And
I want to see it now.
I'll tell you the movie that put me to sleep, literally put me to sleep. Belfast.
Okay.
That was Kenneth.
It's one of those movies I wanted to like it.
That was the Kenneth Branagh biopic.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to like that movie, and I literally nodded out.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Dune didn't win anything because I fell asleep.
It won 6 Oscars.
Did it?
Yes.
But they were all technical stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. They took all the tech stuff.
Still bored me to tears. I don't know what it was about Dune.
Year of the Dog was terrific.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it didn't have that
I saw that
personal
one.
I'm sorry?
I saw Year of the Dog. I thought that was pretty good.
But
Is
it
that-
didn't have that personal feel
Yeah.
that Coda did. Coda just, I'm not trying to be too overwrought here, but it literally grabbed you by the heartstrings. It literally was so moving. But I'll tell you something. The acting in Year of the Dog, Benedict Cumberbatch, holy shit! I mean, just wonderful.
Yeah.
And that kid whose name I can't pronounce, he was also terrific. Everybody was great.
Well, I mean, the guy who played like the brother, he's been in a lot of stuff. He was in like
who played the brother?
Yeah, he was the brother that got married.
I'm getting static, a lot of static now.
Yeah, the brother that got married.
I'm getting static.
Sam, that's your speaker then, because Andy and I can hear each other.
I can hear you.
I can, yeah, we're not having any problems. It's just on your end. It's your speaker. See if I can put an announcement out here.
So,
am I doing it right here? Here we go. Oh, where is it here? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Do you want me to turn it off and go start over?
I can, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now?
It's fine now.
You find out. Okay. When that happens, Sam, Andy and I hear normally and see normally, and everything looks fine to us. It's only you that are having the problem. So I'm saying,
well, that's because I was in the movie Children of a Static God.
That was a brilliant performance by you. I think that was pretty good.
Tour de force.
Yes, we were trying to improvise miming. So there we go.
I know a little bit of sign language.
I do. All I can remember is like grandfather and father or whatever,
Well, this is boy, which is the bill of a baseball cap.
Mm-hmm.
And this is girl. And this is woman. You do this and then fingers on the breast, on the chest.
Okay.
But I'm committed that this year I'm going to learn sign language. I mean, to the point I can converse with a non-hearing person.
Good for you.
Nice. I think that'd be cool.
It can't listen. Cool. People speak it all the time, and it's got to be easier than French.
Yeah.
Did you ever try to learn French?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
I took French. And when I got to college, I switched it to Spanish because I had such a hard time. I had such a hard time in high school, and even harder time in college with French. I figured I had an advantage since I took it in high school, but it didn't work.
You saw that movie, Police Squad, with Leslie Nielsen?
Yeah, I remember.
When Robert Goulet says to him, "So you speak French?" He goes, "No, but I kiss that way."
Well, early in my
do you know where he was raised? This is amazing. Leslie Nielsen?
No.
60 miles from the Arctic Circle.
No,
that's when he was in Canada. Yeah.
In Canada?
60 miles from the Arctic Circle. That's amazing.
Now, if he can make it to Hollywood, anybody can. There you go.
I think about that all the time. That people like him and what's her name?
You'll have to tell us because
I'm trying so hard.
I'm not getting
Cheryl Ladd, who was raised in North Dakota.
Yeah.
And you think about people like that, they had the force of will. They had the force of will to say, something, I'm going to go to Los Angeles I mean, she's gorgeous. So I mean, she has. I'm not denying that, but
That
I
helps. That helps.
can't hurt. But
No.
I have the force of will to, go to this. And but listen, as you both know, transient beauty in LA is not a rare happening.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, she's really pretty. I wish everyone else here was. No.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but she had
It's like,
something
I like-
else.
okay.
She had something else going for her. And part of it is, you won't stop me. You know who I read that about was Diane Carroll.
Oh, yeah.
Diane, I have a friend who went to Howard with me,
Right.
and she knew Diane Carroll. And Diane Carroll would go in for an audition, and they would say to her, "We're not really seeing anybody today. I'm sorry." And she'd go, "Okay," and wouldn't leave. She wouldn't get mad. She wouldn't go, "Well, God damn it, I'm no. Yeah, we're not seeing anyone today." So, all right, and her butt was glued to that chair.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally, they would say, "She's not leaving. We have to see her." And she made a movie with James Earl Jones that I can't remember the name of, but he played a garbage man, and she played a single mother with 4 kids.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
And the soundtrack was Gladys Knight and the Pips, and it was great.
Trying to remember that. Yeah, I've
And the
seen
guy
that.
who was the guy, the African American guy who played in Welcome Back, Kotter.
Freddie Boom Boom Washington.
No, that's not him.
The black guy?
Yeah,
That was the name of the guy. Character.
That was the name of the character.
he played Diane Carroll's son,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
and he knew that she cared for James Earl Jones.
Uh-huh.
So as much as he didn't like him to begin with, he realized, well, he's a decent guy. He works. That's a big deal. He has a job. So, if that's what she wants. So he goes out. They had some argument. I figure what movie's like 5,000 years old. And he gets
It's
drunk,
single.
James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got it
And
right here. I got it right here. It's called Claudine.
that's it.
Diane
That's
Carroll
it.
plays Claudine, a single mother in New York City who endures an exhausting commute to the suburbs where she works as a maid for wealthy families.
Yep.
In one carefully tended white community, she meets Roop, James Earl Jones, a charismatic but irresponsible garbage collector. Romance quickly ensues, but Claudine doubts that their relationship is good for her 6 children, and Rupert,
6.
despite his good nature, is reluctant to take on fatherhood. Sounds like a great story.
Who played the son? Does it say?
I'm getting to the cast right now. Hold on. Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. You're right. He was.
Yeah, that's
Lawrence
him.
Hilton Jacobs. Yep.
So in the movie, he
Oh, Eric Jones was in it too.
who?
Eric Jones.
Yes,
I think
he
he's the
gets
guy.
drunk.
Yeah.
Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. He gets drunk, and he's like hammered, and this really pisses off Lawrence Hilton Jacobs because he sees this guy as someone his mother could love and be make a part of the family.
Mm.
You all right in there? Hold on, please. Hello? Okay. And he like grabs him and like beats the shit out of him. He said he wouldn't stand for him ditching his mother, that she's had so much heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
Wow.
So Coda was terrific.
I always
Belfast,
want to. I got to tell my Diane. This isn't a Diane Carroll story, but it was.
it'll do.
I think I was about 2nd or 3rd grade, and she had a show called
Julia?
Julia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
God, you were in 2nd grade?
Yeah. How old were you? Oh, you're 13 years older than I am.
I just come home from Nam. Jesus, man.
But
Holy
it was a
shit.
it was a time, and I don't think I have to reiterate how desegregated Detroit is. It was a time when a black person moved into our neighborhood, and it caused a kerfuffle, let's say.
Look,
And
great word.
My parents were the closet liberals. They didn't go out and hang signs and have bumper
They
stickers.
dare not.
Yeah, exactly. But when arguments like this came, but there was always, and this was like my dad would tell me later, this was an argument that was typical, and he already had the answer for it. But one guy says, "Oh yeah, well, what if one of these guys is going to date your daughter?" He says, "And what if Diane Carroll or Lola Falana wanted to marry one of my sons?" And
I'm the luckiest guy on the planet.
I always wanted to meet Diane Carroll or Lola Falana to tell them that story, because I just thought that was like that was the credit to them that
Can you imagine a guy who is so racist that he thinks that Diane Carroll being attracted to him is a step down for him?
Oh,
Can you?
Yes.
I mean, seriously.
Well, the funny thing is, the guy that was moving into our neighborhood, my dad would tell me late. I was too young to even know about this. I just knew that my parents were on the right side of this. But he said, "No, wait a minute. They're like these neighborhood hutch meetings," is what he called them. They were basically at the community center, the elementary school. He goes, wait a minute now. Charlie, you're a plumber. Ed, you're an electrician. Billy, you just mow lawns, buddy. This guy's an airline pilot, and you're bitching about him moving into the neighborhood.
That's a stare. There's a joke I used to tell, not on stage because it's too long, but I used to tell this joke to friends. And
yeah.
if they didn't get the joke, it wasn't because they were racist. I really believe this. They just didn't get the joke. And this is the joke. So it's an American Airlines plane. The flight attendants come on. The co-pilot comes on, and the pilot comes on. And when the pilot comes on, the people they look at him, and they say, "Wait a minute, this guy he's black. He's going to be flying the plane, and he's black. Holy shit!" And the pilot senses their discomfort, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not inured to your feeling of insecurity about me. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was a pilot. I flew jets in Vietnam. I have flown for American Airlines for 14 years, 6 years as a co-pilot, 8 years as a pilot. I have flown 83,000 miles. I have a spotless record. I have never, ever been called to the carpet for anything. I have a spotless discipline record, and I will be proud to bring any of my superiors onto this plane or get them to call to tell you about my skill as a pilot and my spotless record." And so now that I've said this, and I hope this has calmed you down, and he can, and you can sense they're calmed down. He goes, "And now, if it's okay with everybody, I'm about to take this motherfucker up on the air." And I've had people, I've told that joke, and I've had people stare at me like, so he's, I don't, so what is it? I go, "Never mind. It's okay. No, seriously, it's fine." Stop talking.
I have. It's so funny. My kids, well, I'll get into discussions with them about the use of the N word, and it's so funny because what they get upset about is not the same things that people my age or people my parents' age get upset about with the N word. It's sort of crossed a lot of different paths and a lot of different cultures, but they're not upset that somebody's using it as a racial epithet. They see it because they use it so much. They see it as appropriating their culture.
Well, I can't say it. I can't say it to Cass. I can't say it in any context. In any context, I can't. If I'm telling a joke, I can't use it as a quote.
Yeah.
She will not let me. I cannot say that word with her.
Yeah. Well, my kids are the same way, and they says, and then But their friends who are accepted, their white friends that are accepted as being whatever it is that allows them to use, are allowed to use it.
I don't know. I don't know if she lets anybody use it.
No, that could be.
When
That's
she
consistent.
first said that, the thing that bothered me was not that I couldn't say it, but I couldn't even say it in a quote.
Yeah.
But then I thought,
Well, I have a story. I have a story that includes the N word, and if I'm going to tell it, I say I have to use the N word, or I can't tell the story. No, don't use the N word. Okay, fine. Well, can't you just tell it and say? Can't you just tell it and say the N word? I go, well, I guess I could do that. And my daughter Colleen pipes up in my defense. She goes, no. If he uses the N word in place of if he uses the N word in place of the actual N word, then that's the same thing. So
yeah, she won't. My feeling with Cass is it's not worth the arguing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not.
Well,
if she doesn't want me to use it,
it's going to stop the show.
It. Yeah, it's not worth it to me.
Or as the quote my kids,
it kind of lends with what Bruce was saying.
The quote that my kids hate the most was when I says, well, I'm not going to use it. You kids don't have to worry about it. I'm never going to use it. I mean, the blacks have devalued it so much. They hate that line.
Well, if you're going to make a big deal of it, yeah.
I mean, really.
So anyway, you saying that? So you're saying that Lenny Bruce's idea of just if the president said it
that great thing about
take out the power of it. So you say it has no power now.
But what? And I've never discussed Lenny Bruce with her because she wasn't. She was. When did he die? 1966. Yep. So she was 30. What was she? 33 years away from being born before he died. So it's not. But the bottom line is, it's just not worth it to me to argue with her about. It's just she doesn't want me to use it. I'm not using it.
I said.
And at first, I was resistant. I was, but then I thought, it's just not worth it. If it bothers you that much, let it go. Why am I fighting this battle with her? If it bothers her that much, I'm done.
I told my kids, I don't care how much you want to. I don't care how much you want to indulge in that culture. But if one thing you're going to take away from this whole situation where you were adopted by white people, even though your people have been sort of excised out, I go, the one thing you're going to take away from this is before I die, goddammit, you're going to have 401ks and pensions. I don't care how unblack passing on wealth is. It's going to happen,
Yeah,
that's great.
We're gonna have some money. Okay.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, you're going to be homeowners. Goddammit.
You can be homeowners with 401k plans.
You won't be bitching about the man. You will be the man. All right.
Well, when I lived in Boston, I'm getting brought up on stage by Lenny Clark.
Okay.
God love him.
And Lenny Clark says, next guy coming up, this little Jew bastard. Now, he absolutely did not mean that in a derogatory sense.
Yeah.
He just didn't.
Yeah, the lower end,
But I was shell shocked when he said it. I really was. I was knocked out that he said it.
I'm telling you, my mom's from Boston, or her family's from Boston. She's actually from Brockton, but Boston, Brockton, same thing.
Same thing. Route 24.
As far as the rest of us are concerned, Brockton and Boston. Now, there's a difference between Boston and Brockton, but outside of Massachusetts, they're all the same. But anyway, they use
Marvin Hagler.
Yes, Marvin Hagler. Rocky Marciano was from Brockton.
Do you know that? I got to tell you something real quick. Do you know that when Rocky Marciano made appearances after he retired, he'd get paid in cash. He would take the cash and literally stuff it into his pants pockets.
Wow.
And would walk out of the place. He would do 3 shows a night in 3 different locations. And his pockets are bulging with money. And he wouldn't use a bank. He was like that old story about the guy who, everything is cash. It was under his mattress.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Anyway, well,
Talking about Brockton.
my uncle Victor was his sparring partner.
That had to hurt.
Before he got management and took him out of Brockton. But anyway, I'm just saying that area there in that working class Italian, and Lenny Clark's Irish, but Irish Italian,
Same thing up there.
Irish Italian working class Boston, Massachusetts area, greater Boston area. They use bastard for everything. You know, here's some bastard ice cream, and hey, call that bastard. He needs to get this bastard to do this work for that bastard. You know, the bastard is a pretty common word. So.
Bastard.
Oh no, they were well acquainted with it, but Barry Crimmins talked to me about it. Listen, you don't know him. Lenny's trying to be like a man of the people, kind of, that's just him. I go, and you know what I said? I said, that's just him is not a something that assuages me. And that doesn't make me feel better about what he said. And he said, well, let me try this. It's as if he said, this next act coming up, that little stinker. Okay, so him calling you that little Jew bastard is the same to him as calling you that little stinker. And I said, so not only does he think I'm a kike, he thinks I have a stench. and Barry said, no. I said, I'm kidding. Barry, I'm kidding. You know, just there was a comic in Boston. I cannot remember this guy's name. And in the when he Barry was very, very liberal, very liberal.
Oh yeah.
And but he didn't like this guy because the guy was gay and wouldn't own it. You know, in Boston, it's an amazing thing. There's so much bigotry, but if you just say, yeah, this is what I am, they're kind of okay with it.
Right.
You know, and so one day he's talking about this guy. I'm going to use the name Lester. I don't remember his name. I don't know how much you know about Lester, but I think as my Uncle David would say, he's about a third more sensitive than the rest of us. I just thought that was so great. A third, and he would always do it like this: a third more sensitive than the rest of them.
That's so funny.
God, is he? Crimmins was great. Crimmins and I did a show one time, and these shows were like very typical in Boston. You were at a bar, you were literally performing at a bar.
Yep. And
Barry's on stage, and Barry said to me, "Would you mind if I went on first?" And I said, "Well, I don't mind, but aren't you supposed to close?" He goes, "Well, that's why I'm asking you. Is it okay if I go on first?" I go, "I don't. Yeah, it's fine." He goes, "Well, I appreciate this more than you know." I said, "No, it's okay. I'm Jesus. It's fine with me." So he goes on, and it's awful. I mean, they weren't booing or throwing shit, but they weren't laughing at all. And Barry finishes, and he's with his girlfriend. Barry finishes, and he literally said to her, "I'm leaving right now. If you don't leave with me right now, you're going to walk home." And I didn't say anything because, it's not my fight.
Right.
But I thought to myself, the fuck did she do wrong? But that was his way of saying, I'm really upset. I'm really pissed. I want to get the hell out of here, and I hope the place burns down just after Sam finishes. And so I said, I saw him about a month later, and I said, I want you to know how much I appreciate the fact that you said you wanted me to finish, thereby saving my life from the fire. And he goes, well, it wasn't your fault that they sucked. I said, I appreciate that, pal. Don Gavin?
Yep.
You don't know him, Andy. This guy was so funny. He goes, me and my wife, we went on vacation about a month and a half ago. We went to Puerto Rico. It's very nice, but too many goddamn Puerto Ricans. How do they afford it? But he did a joke. And he was in his 40s, I think. Or maybe, no, he was in his 50s.
Is he still around? Is he still alive? Is Don still alive? He's still around, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
And his girlfriend was in her 20s. And they both loved oldies music. And Don could drink an alcoholic under the table, and you wouldn't know he was drunk. It's amazing. So we're listening to music on the jukebox, and he goes, "You know something, Greenfield? If you're in your 50s and your girlfriend's in her 20s and you listen to music from the 60s, that's fucking heaven." And I said, I guess you're right. He said, "What, you think she's too young for me?" I said, "Not if you're counting by carbon dating."
Now, I remember Barry Crimmins gets a lot of credit for being what do you call it? A deal maker, not a deal maker. What do they call it?
A booker?
No. What do you call the people that make people something, make people important?
Kingmaker. I don't know.
Kingmaker. Yeah. Crimmins is credited with it because he started Ding Hose, but Don Gavin was more like sort of like the godfather protector of Boston comedy. It was sort of like somebody would be getting down on a comic, and Don would say, "Oh no, he's okay."
Oh, you're talking about he gives you his blessing.
Yes, you would get Don Gavin's blessing, and that was
he did it for me.
Because that when I went to Boston, that's what everybody says is you got to meet Don, like he was the Don. I'm thinking, what do you mean I got to meet? Because you got to meet Don when you go to Boston.
It's truer than you think. When I moved to Boston, I didn't make it my business. I got to meet Don Gavin, but I ran into him and I said, "Don, I'm Sam Greenfield." He goes, "You want a medal for that or a chest to pin it on?" And he goes, "Yeah, I heard about you. I heard you're a funny little shit." I go, "I am." And we talked for about a half hour. And from that day on, I was fine with everybody.
I first got there in '84, and my first stop.
So did I.
Oh, okay. My first stop. This would have been in June or April, somewhere in the spring.
Somewhere with a month with girls' names.
All right, exactly. April, May, and June, the girl months. I went during the girl. But I just
forgot May, but that's all right.
Somebody said you got to meet Don. I didn't know how to get a hold of him, but I went to audition for Bill Downs and Barkley and Downs at the Comedy Connection.
Bill No Money Downs.
Down exactly, and Don Gavin was sitting at the bar, the one that you could see the stage from. Not there was other bars there and that was right down the street from Nick's.
You were at the Comedy Connection.
Comedy Connection, yes, at the Comedy Connection, and that's when I met Don, and he gave me the people to talk to at Stitches. He gave me the people to talk to at Ding Hose.
Absolutely.
All he did was he saw me one time do a 10-minute guest set, and that was all it took. And then
he wasn't given to let me think this over. That wasn't Gavin.
Yeah, I know.
He saw you. He liked you. That's it.
But I made 3 trips to Boston. That trip where I was sort of like introducing myself to everybody. The next trip I had gigs. And then the third trip, I did about 5 weeks of all the road shit that everybody did in Boston. The one-nighters. And I didn't get any of the big.
And they were good gigs.
They were great gigs. They were better paying gigs than anywhere in the country.
Certainly better paying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There were some. I mean, I was middling for one night in some places. I was making $300, and that was a lot of money for a middle act for a one. And you did string 6 of those in a week. Shit, you're making your nut for the month.
You're making $2,000.
Exactly. Well, Andy knows. He knows how much I bitch and moan and
yes,
don't apologize for when I don't apologize for when I was born. To all these young comics, I go,
right.
Sorry, I was born at a better time than you were. I can't help when I was
gold rush. Yes. After that, it was just like you might as well go off and just
Is everything okay?
I mean, when I see what people go through now just to get 4 paying gigs a year. They're calling themselves professional comics. They're getting 4 paying gigs a year. We didn't call ourselves professionals, so we quit our day job.
Yeah.
The Billy Downs nickname was Billy No Money Downs,
mm-hmm.
and he was famous for not paying people.
What was Barkley's first name? They were partners there at the Connection.
Paul Barkley.
Paul Barkley. That was
Couldn't
it.
stand him.
Yeah. Well,
Oh God, what a
I got
dick.
along better with Downs too. But the guys that really helped me were not those guys. It was the Kevin Meanies, the Don Gavins, the Crimmins. Jimmy Tingle helped me when I was in Boston.
Let me tell you a story about Tingle. There was a big Letterman audition that night.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I was 5th, which is primo.
Yeah, sure is.
And Tingle comes up to me and says, I need a huge favor. I'm flying tonight to do the Tonight Show. Not the Tonight Show. Some show out of New York. And I need to get out of here. Can I go on in place of you? I'm 8th and you're 5th. So it's not that big a deal. And I thought, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, I'll do that for you. He stayed on stage for so long. This is at the Connection with that tiny stage.
That he missed his flight, right?
No. I wish he had made the flight and it had crashed. That's how much I hated him after this was over. Okay. He was on stage for so long that Bill Downs was sitting on the stage giving him the T sign for type. Sitting on the stage, 1 foot from his feet. And eventually saying out loud, Jimmy, for Christ's sake, get off the goddamn... That's what it was like.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he comes up to me and says, I'm really sorry. I said, don't talk to me ever again, ever, for anything. Okay? I don't care if you have a serum that saves my life. I'd rather die than talk to you. Don't ever talk to me again. And one of the other comics said, I don't know. If he had the serum, I went, oh, shut the fuck up. So this is the part of the story that I wanted to tell you. I don't steal jokes. I don't look down on people who do it. If they, if that's what they decide to do, that's what they decide. I can't, I'm not going to get very moralistic and whack, even though I think they suck for doing it. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's their decision. And I know guys who have become successful and become thieves. Robin Williams comes to mind. Mm-hmm. Anthony Clark comes to mind.
Yep.
Carlos Mencia comes to mind, although his career died because he was too arrogant about the stealing. He was proud of the stealing. And people said, oh, really? Are you? Are you proud of not working? Because that's what happened. Yep. So, but that was their decision. I stole a joke from Jimmy Tingle, and I use it every time I'm on stage because of what he did to me.
Revenge.
Every single time. This is the joke, and it's a great joke. And somebody said, suppose he finds out. I go, I don't care. Let him find out. I don't care. What he did to me was such a, I just didn't buy the, well, I didn't realize the time. There's a human being on stage yelling at you to get off the stage. Do you need a hook? No. Anyway, so this is the joke.
All right.
So I'm doing 85 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, and a cop pulls me over. And he looks at my license, and he looks at me, and he looks at my license, and he looks at me, and he looks at my license, and he looks at me, and he goes, this isn't you. I go, that's right. You've got the wrong guy. The silence is deafening. Holy shit. Wow. Jews like it. You're one Jew joke.
They're smarter than us, okay?
Instead of
that's
jokes
what I love
review.
about Detroit. One Jew joke and you're king. Do you remember what's his name? He was
we have here, what do we have in Detroit? The Nederlanders are in Detroit, so you got that.
Oh wow.
You knew that, right? The Nederlanders.
But I didn't know that, but that's interesting as shit. What's that guy's name? Elliot, blonde comedian from Detroit. Blonde.
Jerry Elliott.
Thank you so much. So here's my Jerry Elliott story. One I hope you'll enjoy more than that speeding joke. Holy.
Yeah.
I've gotten better response when they're sitting shiva, folks.
Oh.
Hey, I gotta tell you, Oh.
And I got it from the court.
The line on
Ladies and
Jerry
germs.
Elliott, and he hated this reputation that he had. But the line on
What was
Jerry
his
Elliott was,
reputation?
well, his reputation. The MC would always introduce him as, "This next performer always sounds like the headliner that just left town. Please welcome Jerry Elliott,
Oh
ladies."
my God. Oh my God. And it was true.
And it was, well, you know what though, and a lot of it, he never steal the material. But Gary Shandling would be in town, and suddenly he's got his material with Gary Shandling's attitude. You know what I mean? It was just very funny to watch.
Well, I remember I worked with Gary Shandling at Crackers,
Mm-hmm.
and I have never enjoyed the intellect of a comic more than him. He was so bright, Shanley, so smart. God damn it! So he goes on stage and always dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
He gets on stage and he goes, looks at this woman in the audience. He goes, "How you doing?" "Yeah, I don't want to tell you how big my dick is. I want you to tell me." He goes, "I don't know if you know this, but I just read this in the Journal of Modern Medicine. You know this." Now remember, this is 1985,
Right.
86. He goes, "You know this AIDS thing? You know that you can get that from just sucking one dick? Holy Christ! Just one? My God! You know you can get it just from fucking one guy in the ass? In my life I've never heard that." And he goes, "I went to buy this house in LA, and the woman said it's $700,000, but it's got a magnificent view." He goes, "For $700,000, the view better be tits." And that was part of his skill, was that he was dressed like a Wall Street attorney,
Yeah.
but the jokes were filthy, just filthy.
Jerry Elliott story.
Oh, Jerry Elliott to say, here's what happened. So he says to me, "Oh, it was me, him, and Louis Anderson."
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Lou.
And I was supposed to middle, because the middle and the head, excuse me, the two guys who weren't the headliner were making the same money.
Right.
So it didn't matter who went where. And Jerry Elliott went up to Tom Sobel and said to him, "You better put me right after Louis, because Greenfield doesn't have that much time," which was a lie. He just lied.
Right.
And Tom said, "Yeah, as much as I like Tom, I hate when he does this. Sam, I've been talking this." I said, "Just say it. Just don't give me this cock and bull bull. Just don't." He says, "Well, Jerry's going to go." I said, "It's fine. I don't care." I was lying, but I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Right.
So I said, so then just before we go on, Jerry says to me, "How much time are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to do a half an hour." "How much time are you going to do?" He goes, "Well, I only have 15 minutes. And I said, "Well, what are you going to do when we get to 15? I guess I'm just going to ask people where they're from." And I said, "Are you serious? You're going to do audience talk after 15? Are you shitting me?" He goes, "No." And so Sobel said, "I'm sorry about this, but Jerry evidently has a lot more time." I said, "And I've never done this before." I went, "Jerry's lying. Jerry doesn't have but 15 minutes. He goes, "Sam, listen, there's no reason for you to be bitter." I said, "I'll make you a deal. I'll stand with you. And when we get to 15, let's see what he starts doing." I say he starts doing audience talk. What do you think? Do you think I'm lying? And Tom could tell I wasn't lying, or I wouldn't have talked like that And I swear to you, at exactly 14:59. Where are you from? 14:59. And so I look at Sobel, I go, and he goes, "Why are you staring at me?" I said, "I'm trying to gauge by the look on your face how badly you feel used.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, well, it's not going to happen again. I said, that means nothing to me. That means nothing to me. This is like somebody coming up and stealing my wallet, and you telling me, well, I'll make sure that you don't get the next wallet stolen. That's what this is like to me.
Jerry Elliott was also famous for, even after he established himself. Now, every comic when they were starting out, not every comic, but a lot of comics, and it was accepted back then. They don't allow kids to do this today, but they would.
They don't what?
Allow kids to do this today, but they would end with their set with a joke, a street joke.
Huh.
Hopefully one that not most of the audience had heard. And Jerry would always end his set with three guys go into a bar, something, whatever it was. Kids with his mother at the zoo, what's that? What's that doing? Yeah, what's that type of joke?
I got you.
Even after he got himself to headlining and had enough material to do 45 to an hour,
Still did that.
Still closed with a street joke. A joke to go, he called it. Here's a joke to go, where I know you're gonna go, and he sold it too. He said, you guys are gonna go, and you're gonna say, I went to a comedy show. Well, what were some of the shows? He go, well, here's one that you're gonna remember, and so he would tell this street joke.
So he did sell it, yeah.
Yeah,
he told me.
He made it sound like he was doing them. He'd get ovations for the joke because it was
I'm doing you a favor.
Exactly. Yeah.
He told me. This is so funny. We were back at the condo. This is Crackers again. We were back at the condo, and he was with a girl, and this is no exaggeration. She had to be one of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. I mean, dumb. Okay. And I'm not going to give you any quotes from her about, I don't understand that. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you now, she was as dumb as a rock. But during that, he told me what I thought was one of the greatest jokes anyone's ever told me. I don't know if I've ever told you this one. And if this one dies like the other one, I'm hanging up. But I can only take so much hurt. I'm just one man with a broken rib. You got to give me a break.
One man
with 5 broken ribs. I just can't take any more pain.
That I'm stealing. The next time I'm getting to my end of my set and I don't have the audience with me, I'm just going to do I'm just one man. If you guys don't laugh at this one,
that's right. Please
I'm going to torture you. I'm going to torture you with 15 more minutes of material. This is my big closer. I'm just telling you right now. You better applaud, or I'm going to keep going. If you don't give me a big send off on this one.
You think you're in pain now?
One man.
You think you're in pain now, my friend?
Wait.
So here we go. It's the Last Supper. And Christ says to the apostles, before dawn, one of you will betray me.
Oh, I love this joke. I know the joke.
Do you know this joke, Andy?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So Mark, one of the disciples. Oh, what a coincidence! Walks up to Jesus and says, "Is it me, Lord?" And Jesus says, "No, it's not you. You've been a great friend." And Luke walks up to him and says, "Is it me, Jesus?" And he says, "No, you've been a fantastic friend. No, it's not you." And Judas Iscariot walks up to him and says, "Is it me, Lord? Is it me, Jesus?" And Jesus looks at Judas and goes, "Is it me, Lord? Is it me, Jesus? Is it me?"
I love that joke.
That is one of the greatest jokes ever. Now, I'll tell you how great that joke is. I do a Zoom meeting with my fraternity brothers. And they're all African American except for me.
Right.
And
he went to Howard. We get it.
Right. And so a couple of them are very, I don't mean religious, like if you say something goofy about Jesus, they're going to, hang up on you, but they're religious, they pray and, they're devoted.
Yeah, I know.
And so I said, and they always rely on me, go, Sam, time for a joke because, it's me. And I go, I have a joke, but I'm reluctant to tell you. And they said, why? I said, well, it's about Jesus, and I don't want to insult anybody. He goes, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And they exploded laughing. They laughed so hard at that joke. They were pounding the fists on their tables. And I was, you have no idea how happy that made me, because
Wow.
I didn't want to, I didn't want to insult them. I didn't want to, to make it like, that joke is mean spirited or it's a sacrilege. They died. They
Yeah,
were laughing
it's
so hard.
It's a good joke. One technical thing: Luke was not at the Last Supper, so
I always get that wrong.
Matthew
That's the one name I always get it wrong.
of the gospel writers, Mark and Luke were not disciples. Matthew and John were. So Matthew and John.
Then I'll go with them.
Yeah, Matthew and John are the two that you want to include with Judas.
You know what you just reminded me of?
What's that?
You watched 30 Rock, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember when Tim Conway was on?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he walks into the writer's room and he goes, wow, we used to call this the Jew room. That joke slays me. And I how there's certain jokes you hear and you go, Tina Fey wrote that. You can just feel it.
Yeah.
Tina Fey wrote that joke.
Yeah, she has such a good sense.
Well, she wrote, while she was a writer at Saturday Night Live, she wrote all the double entendre jokes.
By the way, you just reminded me, Michael Che is leaving that show.
Oh, is he?
Wow. Oh.
No anger, no bitterness, no.
Is he voluntarily leaving the show?
No, yes, absolutely, on his own. Goodbye. Who knows why?
Well,
his agent might have something else for him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, if he doesn't, he's got to fire that agent.
Yeah, really. No kidding.
Yeah. Yes. So, what do you have lined up for me? Well, there's a Pizza Hut that is looking for a spinner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who do you like on the SNL
job for you?
Who do you guys like on the SNL cast? As long as we brought it up,
I like what's her name? The lesbian.
Yes, Kate McKinnon.
Kate McKinnon.
She is fantastic.
I like Melissa Villaseñor.
Yes, she's good. She has more voices than they allow her to do.
I love Bowen Yang.
He's good.
Yeah.
I got to tell you something. There aren't a lot of people in that cast I don't like.
I like 80. I like 80 Bryant.
I get so, I don't know, maybe upset's the wrong word, but there's so many people go, oh, that show sucks. This cast is so much better than the original cast.
Yeah. You
know what? This cast, how can you compare? No, this cast is better. They're just better.
But you go back and see what everybody thinks of as the glory days, and how much better they end skits now than they did, 30 and 40 years ago. I mean, they were horrible.
I remember when they had some of the Franken and Davis sketches. They were terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for the early guys, that the way the sketches ended is dropping the cow. It was like they were from the improv organized way, so they just go with a script long enough, and then when they ended it just no reason to end it. Just drop a cow.
But not only that, but you're right. But what I'm going to say is comparable to yours. You could hear the white noise.
Yeah.
You could hear the white noise when they finished the sketch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the reason that people, say that those guys were better is you had nothing to compare it to.
Exactly.
They were the first cast.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, Belushi and Aykroyd. There was nothing. That was then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at Belushi now, well, you won't see much. But if you look at Belushi, now and Aykroyd, I mean, Aykroyd had some nice sketches. The Julia Child sketch was very funny.
Yeah. Aykroyd worked. You could tell that in those days, like Bill Murray fucked around, and but Aykroyd was a working improv player. I don't think Bill Murray did that much time in developing his improv when he was at Second City.
I don't either.
I think he was probably riding somebody else's coat. Dan Aykroyd was from the Toronto Second City, so it's hard to tell how much influence he would have had on that. But
both the Murrays were from the Chicago area, so they were in Chicago.
Brian Doyle Murray and Bill Murray.
Yeah.
But the guy, I'll tell you, the guy, and I could be wrong about this because I'm surmising this. I don't know this. Who made a ocean liner full of money was Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Because he wrote Ghostbusters.
Oh, can't go wrong there.
Yeah. And to me, that's it. Well, what have you done? Oh, I wrote Ghostbusters. Oh, hi. Yeah, that was amazing. Brian Doyle Murray, he had a nice career.
As far as that kind of money goes, I would take just the Happy Meal toy sale.
Say that again.
I would take for as much money as Ghostbusters make. I would be happy with just the Happy Meals toy sales. The toys they put in the McDonald's meal.
Yeah.
Just the sales they made from the Ghostbusters toys that went in Happy Meals for one region in the United States. Whatever pick a region, I'll take any region. Yeah. The toy sales for Happy Meals for Ghostbusters merchandise.
People forget how much money that is.
Yeah.
That's millions of dollars. Those are just little toys and they only spend a dime for each of those put in a McDonald's Happy Meal. They make millions on that stuff.
When Jack Nicholson
was in Batman. The Batman thing. Yeah.
You know about this? When Jack Nicholson was in Batman, he forsook his salary.
And took a percentage.
No. Well, you're right. A huge percentage of the merchandising.
Yeah.
For Batman.
Yeah, Michael Keaton mentioned that.
He made, what year did that come out? 80 what? It had to be, or 90. It was 80 something, wasn't it?
87, 88, something like that.
Let's say 87, okay?
All right.
$53 million.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, Michael Keaton talked about that. He says, so you're a Batman. I was like, that's pretty good. He was on David Letterman. He says, there's a pretty good chunk of change. Said, yeah, that was a chunk of change, but, the guy who made out on that one was, of course, Jack Nicholson, So how's that? He had an end deal that was just, he got the toys, man. He got the toys.
You know what's interesting about Nicholson? When Gene Hackman retired, he announced it. He said, I've had a nice career. I've enjoyed it, but I'm done. I believe, maybe I'm wrong. I believe that Nicholson has retired. But he hasn't said it.
Well, he hasn't come over and said, I'm done. He may have.
I think what he's probably doing though is he's probably still reading scripts, and there'll be one that he'll come across and say, "I'm glad I didn't retire," and he'll probably do, even if it's a small part.
That's the thing I not love. That's the thing I admire though about Hackman.
Right.
Neither one of them are wrong. Neither one of them are wrong. But when Hackman said, "I'm done," he's done.
But he was done with acting. He writes novels.
He still writes novels.
He writes novels and he paints.
And he paints. Yeah. So there's two other artistic endeavors that he gets his voice heard. So.
You know where I saw him? Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah.
the Guy Fieri thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They were in. I think he lives in Santa Fe.
Okay.
And they were in Santa Fe because that show goes all over the United States, actually all over the world. But they were in Santa Fe, and he goes, "I'm sitting here with Gene Hackman." I'm going, "Son of a bitch."
How'd he look?
And he goes, "How do you like the food?" He goes, "It's all right." And he goes, "I'm kidding. It was really good."
How did Hackman look? Does he look good in his old age?
He looks old.
That's old, yeah.
He's 92.
Yeah. But I think not Hackman, but Nicholson, I think, is going through possibly dementia, is what some of the rumors are. Nicholson.
That would be sad.
Yeah.
That would be.
Well, it'd be sad for anybody, but
yeah.
Sean Penn told a story about Nicholson. They're at a bar, and this girl comes up to Nicholson and goes, "Jack, would you like to dance?" He goes, "Wrong verb." I
Hey,
love that.
maybe next year it's too late to do it this year, but next year on January 1st, let's put together a death pool, and just put a bunch of celebrities on there and like pick who, like a lottery or something. Pick who's gonna
Barbara
make it.
noticed that in the in memoriam, Bob Saget wasn't in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what movies did he do that he would be considered?
But let me say something about
a
that. Let
film
me say
personality?
something about that. He was not the only person. No, let me try this another way. There were people in the memoriam who died who were strictly TV.
Really?
Yes.
Is this because so many movies never make it to the theaters now? They're now including
I don't
TV.
know,
as
but
part
Ed
of the-
Asner. Do you have any memory of Ed Asner doing TV, radio, movies rather? No, no.
Well, yeah, he did.
You have to think about it.
Hold on.
No, he did. He
I
did
have,
a couple of Christmas
Google. I do
things. He
not
was,
just think about it. I can look it up here.
he did a couple of Christmas things. He did the Christmas movies.
But
He did
it's you know what I'm saying.
He did Alf.
He wasn't a movie star. He
Right.
wasn't a movie actor.
And Asner was in the In Memoriam?
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Could it be that because they combined both SAG and AFTRA, they're starting to do this?
No.
No, that doesn't have nothing.
They screwed
The
up.
unions have nothing to do with the Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, they screwed up.
Airplane mode? Who put my phone in airplane? I was using this earlier today. What happened? I'm in airplane mode. What the hell? I'll be
I think
right with
you're
you,
taking
Paul.
it a little too
I can
personal.
tell you a joke that I said to a Baptist, and she just stared at me like, we stared at you for your jokes. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, I think you probably heard it anyway, but it's like she's in the back of the car. She's talking about, her mother was drinking alcohol. She doesn't like alcohol, being drunk and stuff like that. And I said, have you heard this joke? There's a series of different religions don't recognize each other. The Methodists don't recognize the Baptists. The Methodists don't recognize the Episcopalians. The Episcopalians don't recognize the Catholics. And the Baptists don't recognize each other at the liquor store.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
I like that one.
Remember Rich Hall?
She stared at me in
Ed
the back of the
Asner,
cab.
hold on. Before you go on to Rich Hall, Ed Asner was in one of the top movies, one of the most nominated movies of all time. He was in Up.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the most nominated movies of all time, and it was almost the first film, the first animated film ever to win the Oscar. It came close.
Wow.
It was a great film too.
It was a great film.
He was in Elf. Ed Asner was in Elf.
But he was also wasn't he in an early 1950 show? Wasn't he one of the 12
He was 12 angry. Yes, he was 12 Angry Men with.
In the Showtime version of it.
Okay. All right.
By the way, that's a great trivia question. If you can name the original 12 Angry Men.
Oh, the only one I can come up with is Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda, George Voskovec, Robert Webber, E.G. Marshall,
Yeah, that's
Ed
right.
Begley Sr.,
Ed Asner was in
Jack Klugman, what's his name? Edward Binns. That's 7. I did George Voskovec. John Fiedler, Jack Warden.
Here's another Oscar nominee that Ed Asner was in, The Gathering. With
Never heard of it.
Ed Asner and Maureen Stapleton in the it's a 1970s film. He was also in El Dorado with John Wayne.
That's right. He played the criminal guy in El Dorado against John Wayne.
So much for that. Just a television guy. What else we got?
Wait a minute. God damn it. Wait a minute. I'm coming along here. Hang on. Son of a bitch.
He was in the Elvis flick Change of Habit.
Open this page and Come on, Sammy. God
damn it. He was in Disney's Gus. Ain't nothing in the rules says a donkey can't play football.
Well, that's the most important.
You're entering the broadcast studio.
Are you ready for this? Ed Asner was in
a studio, and there I am.
You never left us on the other one, Sam.
Say again?
I said you never left us on the other one, on the other screen. Just your picture was gone. All right, as soon as your picture comes back, I'm taking the other one out.
Well, it's time to go, isn't it?
Oh, you're right.
Oh,
I just
so
want to give.
that's-
Okay,
yeah.
hold on. I got 2 more Ed Asner films. He was in Stone. He was in Oliver Stone's JFK.
Oh yeah.
He was.
He played. Joe Pesci was in that.
That could be.
In JFK.
He played a pro. He played an anti-JFK. He played one of the guys responsible for killing JFK.
Yeah.
He was in the In the Heat of the Night sequel called They Call Me Mr. Tibbs.
Oh. Yeah.
Was Portier in that?
Yes.
Portier was in that. Yes.
Yeah. Because that basically he starred in it, where in the other one it was Rod Steiger he was kind of co-starring with.
I was going to, I had an on-air partner in radio who was African American, and I had an idea on what to call our broadcast team. And when I told him we were on the air, and he laughed so hard, we had to go to commercial break.
All right.
My idea for the broadcast team was Mr. Matza and the Schwarze.
Oh, all right. Well, okay, we're not going to top that tonight. That's
Sorry.
it. On behalf of Sam and Andy, this is Mark Sweetman. This has been the off night. Every Monday night we're here. Comics, come join us. We talk this shit every Monday night, and it's a
Every
riot.
Monday night.
We
Everybody-
reminisce. We tell stories we all know. We tell stories we're just hearing for the first time.
We
doesn't
steal
matter.
stories. We do
steal
it all.
right. Exactly. We do everything. Oh, they're great.
Everything is on the table. Okay.
Everything is on the table. We're going to clear everything with Jada Pinkett Smith next week, so that we make sure none of our guests get slapped. So,
Skinhead?
yeah.
Is Will Smith
You know what I
in the
loved her
audience?
I loved her in G.I. Jane.
Yeah, that was a great show. She was wonderful in that.
Yeah. Well, my wife's comment on the whole thing was, maybe because she saw her in Queen Latifah's television series, they gave her a job in that, and it just aired a couple weeks ago. My wife says maybe she should worry more about her acting, than her hair.
Hey,
Yeah, a little bit more
I think
of
the
that.
way we can solve this Ukrainian thing is tell Will Smith that Putin made a joke about his wife.
I like that.
Oh, do you know how many of these I've seen since this happened? By the way, Vincent Van Gogh said that Jada Pinkett Smith is a dirty whore.
Oh, good.
Here's the thing. What do you think? Do you think that she got pissed and he overreacted, or did he just
Yes.
overreact?
No, he laughed. If you look at if you go back and find the clips of the Australian broadcast where they didn't cut anything in, and you see that he makes the joke about G.I. Jane 2, and Will's laughing, and Jada is she looks over at Will like, you shouldn't be laughing at this.
She rolls her eyes, and that
Rolls her eyes, and that's when he
Well,
gets
then he's
up.
he's an idiot.
He
Then
got
he's
the
an
signal.
idiot.
He got the signal that she was pissed. And
No,
that was
he's a fine actor, and he's a moron.
Yeah.
Well,
I wanted to leave it with a big laugh, but let's leave it with the moron.
No, let's
Anyway.
leave it with condemning a hypersensitive moron who's henpecked and who let his wife talk him into making an ass. By the way, the Academy has strongly condemned him, and they're looking into banning him.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Yeah, that could be trouble.
I don't
Well,
think
that's probably why he was apologizing to Chris Rock today.
Tough shit. Too little, too late.
I don't remember ever seeing anybody get slapped at the Oscars anymore, or ever.
Ever.
Well, they certainly laughed at the what's her name, the blonde, Amy Schumer. They certainly laughed at her. She was great.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, I waited on her when I was a waiter, Magnificent tipper.
Oh well, that's
Really?
that's a plus. That's a plus right there.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. All right,
Let's
guys.
take it. Let's bring it
See
to.
you
Let's
next
bring it
week.
up next. Let's bring it up next Monday night. Who you picking for the? Who you picking for the Final Four winner?
North Carolina.
Yeah, me too. I think they're
Is
hot.
Arizona still in there?
Arizona
No.
is not still in there. It's four teams that. It's
North
four teams.
Carolina.
All right.
Duke.
Well, I got this to say to you. Never listen to a crazy man in the back who says he's crazy about basketball and picks two like Arizona and Auburn. Okay? Don't bet on it.
That's not good.
I tell you what, all four teams have won championships within the last 10 years. So it's not
I was
like
still rooting for St. Peter's. Oh my God.
that would have been perfect.
Oh
Cinderella.
God. And they were a good team. They played great D.
I mean, you think? Can you imagine what that would have been like? Kansas, Villanova, Duke, and St. Peter's. The whole world would have been going for St. Peter's against those three.
Well, the thing that was great about Kansas was every time they played, you heard "Carry On My Wayward Son." Good night, everybody.
All right, now we got to go. I'll talk to everyone later. Thanks for joining us. See you next Monday at 8 o'clock, everybody, on YouTube right here.